Houston Texans making another big move in the offseason, and it's been a busy offseason for the Texans, and we'll get all into it. Their latest move is one of the more stunning moves, and it's great to see. If you're new to the channel, we have this channel that covers teams that don't get the love nationally like they should, kind of get ignored by the national media. However, the Texans really used to be. Now they're getting a lot of attention, but we still cover them. We've been covering them from the beginning, so we love it. Okay, Texans, weird offseason. Weird in a good way, right? Just knew that, okay, clearly last year you identified we've got a really good quarterback. That changes things. It just does. We got a good quarterback. So let's go get him some weapons. We can kind of get weird. We can get a little bit more aggressive, I guess, in the offseason because we got a good quarterback. We got a window here where he's on his rookie deal. Let's go get a little weird. So the the Texans have made great moves free agent wise, just from, I mean, the big free agent was what's his name? Daniil Hunter, all the way to kind of sneaky good moves like Jeff Okuda. Then there was the weird trade though with the Vikings. It's like, I don't really like that. Right. So it's been all over the place. Joe Mixon. It's like, oh, okay, yeah. But this latest deal is trading for Stephon Diggs. And we're gonna break this down and really look at the positives and the negatives of this trade. First of all, the positives, you get a guy that's 30 years old, which honestly thought he was older. It feels like he's been in the league for a long time. So 30, fine. Here's the deal with him that you just are good with if you're a Texans fan is that he has had over 1,000 yards in each of his last 6 seasons. So usually you start seeing the dip or there's some sort of letdown, but he is just a good receiver, strong, consistent receiver. And you're getting a guy that just gets 1,000 yards year in and year out. That's positive number one. Positive number two is you give them a second round pick in 2025. And you're seeing more and more of this in the National Football League is giving draft compensation in future years. It's perfect. It's great because clearly the Buffalo Bills wanted a high pick. And in order to do that, they had to give up Stephon Diggs, obviously. And then they had to throw in some other picks of theirs, plus had to get it in 2025. But they were like, we don't care. We want a second round pick, right? So I'm sure they could have like taken a sixth rounder this, I don't know, like a fifth rounder this year and just Stephon Diggs or something. I'm exaggerating, but you get the point. Instead, they say, no, we're going to throw us some more picks, really sweeten the deal, and we'll give you a high pick next year, though. So that's positive number two. You don't give up any of your draft picks this year. And so you could really look at Stephon Diggs as like he's a second round pick next year. Okay, cool. Right. And so you get him for this year and next year. And so I think that's just perfect. And he's a 4-time Pro Bowler. There's not a lot of negatives, but there is, right? There is. The problem with this guy is he's just kind of moody. Like he's kind of moody and he's kind of like he gets mad about things and he gets frustrated. And he's a guy that you just have to kind of make sure he's in the right culture. Otherwise, it's like a problem. However, you have CJ Stroud. So you've got a dynamic, great quarterback that's going to get him the ball. Stephon Diggs has really had that in his career. I mean, Kirk Cousins, fine. He was good enough. And then Josh Allen's really good. But you get him into a good culture, a young, like upstart team in the Texans. I just don't see him being a problem. If the Bills shipped him off to a team like the Commanders, where it's just like, oh boy, everybody, it's just that thing's just about to come off the rails. The Raiders, that's completely different. But you have a team that seems to be very focused, led by an incredible quarterback that's like once in a generation type quarterback. I just feel like that with Stroud. It's very clear he's mentally, physically, emotionally there. And it's so cool to see. So he's what makes it all happen. Because he is who he is, you want to go find a receiver and find a playmaker, you find him. Secondly, he can be a little moody. He can be a little diva-ish. It doesn't matter because CJ Stroud is the player that is really keeping this whole thing together. So you start looking at the Texans and who they've added this offseason to go along now with Stephon Diggs. Let's pull that up and you can see Daniil Hunter, we know that one. We love it. Autry, another DN. So you get 2 new DNs, linebacker, couple linebacker. Miles Bryant, love this one. Just corner depth, right? Like that's all that is. CJ Henderson, same thing. Derek Barnett, older guy, but love it. Mario Edwards. So they go D end and corner like crazy. Noah Brown. Here's Jeff Okuda, one we talked about. And we've talked about this, but these are the types of move. Very low risk, high ceiling. Is Jeff Okuda just not given the best chance, and now he's going to get an opportunity in a really good, stable franchise? And he works, that'd be awesome, right? That's what we don't know. A D tackle, Lonnie Johnson Jr., 1-year deal. There's so many. Dalton Schultz. We could go through all those, but the point on the free agent signings is it's one thing to add good players, but can you do it in a economical way? Because otherwise, don't do it. Like Stephon Diggs, he's 30 years old. He's got some diva problems, but it's a 2nd-round pick next year. Okay, and you get picks back this year. Recoup the picks that you used. I mean, the way to go about building a franchise is, can you get good players at the right price? You see teams year after year, the Raiders just throw money, huge money at guys. Yeah, I mean, that's, you got the player, but what was the cost? It's just ridiculous. So it's not that the Texans, it's a few things, and I'm just kind of babbling because I'm just kind of excited about this one, but it's not that the Texans are doing a lot of moves and adding players. It's that they're doing it economically. It's not that they're doing it, but it's doing it knowing that you have a good quarterback. That's where it all starts. So you've got the quarterback, you've got the coach, you've added really good players economically. You're making moves you're making trades that make sense. Like that's, am I crazy? Right? Like the trades are starting to make sense, and you are adding pieces to a good quarterback, a defensive minded coach that is able to do things offensively because you have a good quarterback. Have I mentioned you have a good quarterback? That makes everything happen. So if you're a Texans fan, this offseason is exactly what you wanted to see. You wanted to see them be aggressive. Like, let's go. We've got a quarterback. We can make mistakes. We can take big swings on players. He will make up for anything that we mess up on. And he's just that good that we can rely on him. So again, if you're new to the channel, we talk about a few teams on here, but we'd like to talk about the Texans because we were on them last summer when nobody else was, and we're like, I think they're going to be pretty good. They won the division playoff game, and look at them now. They are on fire. Can't wait to see the next move, and we'll see all of you on the next one.